Hey everybody, welcome back to the Bourbon Note. I'm Greg.
I'm Ben.
And today we're drinking bourbon. And here we go. Hey everybody, welcome back to the Bourbon Note.
Are you going to do the title again?
No, not fully. We could just like loop that over and over again.
Right, we could do that for like a, just to trip people out a little bit here.
Yeah.
So anyway, welcome everybody. I just went full screen here just to check because just before we got started, we switched the lens out in the camera. But it seems like it's working, so
Yeah.
we'll get on with it here.
Some people in chat already.
There are some people in the chat. Let's see who it is. Non-bike riding Dave Vogelsang says no bike riding today, as per the brand. Peter White is here.
Do we know, did Dave actually see the last live stream where he was referenced occasionally?
Yeah, he did actually because he commented on that one.
Good.
So
Excellent.
yeah.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure.
So Peter White is here. Let's see. John Cass. I can never
Jeff.
see if it says Jeff. I'm sorry, Jeff Castle. Is it Jeff? Let us know. Is it Castle like Castl? It's so hard to tell from here.
I think it's Castle.
Okay. John Kranz is here. Tater Dom. What's happening, Tater Dom? Sugar Kitty is in the house. What's happening, Sugar Kitty?
Howdy, howdy, Sugar Kitty.
All right, we got quite the conversation going in the chat here already, so that's
Yeah.
awesome. So as you can see, I'm just going to brighten these up a tad. From what we have in front of us on the bar here, we've got a Jack Daniel's flight, but it's no ordinary, just basic Jack Daniel's flight.
You should explain.
We're doing the three kind of regular Jack Daniel's bonded products that are on the market, and then I've got two international traveler only products.
Well, and it's not that they travel; it's that you traveled internationally and got them.
and hooked it up. So
It's kind of the difference between an African and a European swallow.
so many.
It's a Monty Python reference.
Oh, it is. Okay, I missed that one. Like, all right, let's go easy now here. So anyway, we have, let's get to the right thing here. So here's what we've got on the bar. We've got the Jack Daniel's. This is just the Jack Daniel's bottled in bond.
But international.
But the international travel only one.
Which is a little confusing because
I don't know what the difference is between this and the
bottled
regular
bond's
bonded.
not even a law except in the United States.
Right.
So how could they even sell that? That's like
I don't know. People like their American
violation
whiskey,
of the
so
laws of physics or something.
they want to take some home with them.
Yeah.
So anyway, so this is just, I don't know what the difference between this and, it's pronounced Castle. Okay, awesome. So this is the bottled in bond. This is the single barrel bottled in bond.
Which one's that?
This one right here.
What?
In the single barrel bottle.
Oh.
So that's also international travel only.
And you got this recently? I don't remember this. I kind of remember. I don't know.
Yeah, we drank some on the live stream, I think.
Okay.
I put a dent in the bottle.
Yeah.
And then this one is the regular Shelford Jack Bonded that came out, 2 years ago.
Yep.
So between these three, aside from this one being a single barrel, I have no idea what the difference between any of them is. I know we have tasted the two of these against each other, but that was when this first came out, so I don't really remember if there is a difference. I think people say there is.
People say
So-
lots of things, Ben.
And then just to make it a little wild, we're going to throw in the bonded rye and the bonded triple mash.
And we happen to be really big fans of the bonded rye.
I've been a fan of all of these, to be perfectly honest.
And even the triple mash is interesting. It's a blend of American whiskey and
Yeah, I think it's a blend of bonded American malt, rye, and Tennessee whiskey. So it's a little bit of everything. So that's going to be fun. We'll get to that in just a second. Oh, and then to cleanse the palate, for all of you who watched our, what was it, old comments for brushing his teeth before the review. We did cleanse I don't know if he brushed his teeth or not, but we did cleanse the palate with the Jack Daniel's White Rabbit Saloon special edition.
funny. So I did, yes, a little while ago, I did brush my teeth. However, after that, I had a 1792 single barrel, small pour.
Okay.
So
Did you do any like crackers then or anything, or just wash the toothpaste out with whiskey? Does that work?
No. I mean, you brush your teeth, you wash your teeth out with water. Give it like a half hour. It's not like it was a couple minutes ago. It was a half hour.
That makes a little more
Yeah,
sense.
and then a little bit of bourbon.
Okay, all right. I'm with you on that. Okay, so let's get into the nose here.
That's what she said.
I don't know. I feel like for some reason that we've got about 5.5. We got about 1.5 ounces whiskey per glass.
Is it? You
Greg
think
was
that's really...
pouring these, and then they kept getting bigger and bigger, and then he had to go even them out.
Yeah, it's
so we wouldn't know which one is which. John Kranz, the bottle and bomb is on military bases as well. Mine came from Colorado. That's right. Yes, these are available on military bases. So you can get that. I don't know if the single barrel bottled and bond, so this one, I can't remember if this one actually said anything about international travel. I think this one might. Uniquely crafted. No, but I think this came in a box that said Travelers Exclusive or something like that.
On the box.
So yeah. Oh, by the way, let's get some background music going that makes this all a little less awkward. Not a whole lot less awkward, but a little less awkward for the audience. I don't understand all this stuff about bike riding. Okay, should we explain it?
So Sugar Kitty, if you have a vehicle and there's two wheels and they're in line, the tendency is to tip over unless you have momentum.
Yeah.
And you use the gyroscopic effect to control your momentum.
That's how bike riding works. That's a perfect explanation. Okay, so I did explain this, I think, in
not everyone sees every
the one
minute
episode.
Go
but
ahead.
okay, so a long time ago when we first started doing live streams, or we weren't too far into them,
Right.
like we didn't really know as many people by name.
Sure.
There's another guy named Brian Vaughn who also would be in the live streams a lot.
Occasionally, yeah.
And so Brian Vaughn had a YouTube channel where he did mountain biking videos. He lived from Minnesota, so he used to go on like mountain biking trails throughout Minnesota, and he'd put a GoPro on and film the trail.
Sure.
It's actually pretty cool. Mm-hmm. And so one night, I got the two of them mixed up. I can't remember which one I was talking to. I was talking to Dave. Dave Vogelsang was in the chat.
But you
and
thought he was riding the bike,
Yes.
and it turns out he's the non-bike riding
And
one.
so I referred to his YouTube channel. And then I was like, wait a minute, am I talking to the right person or not? Because the two V last names, I got Vaughn and Vogelsang. I got them switched. And then so I think the next time Dave commented it, he put, this is non-bike riding Dave. Because they were both in the chat that night, and I had gotten them mixed up. And so he put that he was non-bike riding Dave Vogelsang. So ever since then, on the bourbon note, he has been non-bike riding Dave Vogelsang. So,
And he actually has a YouTube channel where he does not ride bikes.
yeah, it's just him staring at a bike going, absolutely not.
No, not
over and
gonna do
over
it.
again. So, all right, let's get into the nosing here. 5 pours, this should end well.
Yeah, and we don't have to finish off the pours. I mean, it's not that kind of channel. But it will end with a blend, and then the good news is I can actually just walk home with a glass of bourbon.
Yeah.
A very tall glass of bourbon, but that's okay.
So these all being the same proof. So far, I've nosed 3 of them, and the first one has a way more of a bold nose than the next 2.
Are you getting the whole triple mash thing?
I don't know if that's what it is. It could be.
Because that one I would think, oh, this is apple.
That one's really the outlier, you know? So, yeah, I was hesitant to do the rye and the triple mash, but, you know, because we just wanted to see maybe like what these are. But I think this deserves its own video of just seeing what these 3, since they're all basically the same whiskey, right?
It may just be the same whiskey.
Yeah, that's the thing. So far the first glass for me. So I'm going to call this glass number 1 on my right, 2, 3, 4, 5. Although that's not what they're labeled.
Well, yeah.
Assumingly.
We don't know. I mean, they're mixed up, so it's a blind flight. He doesn't know which one is in each glass. Neither do I.
But during the reveal, this will be whiskey number 1, 2,
It's
3, 4,
interesting.
5.
I'm getting something distinct on this first glass, and they were both randomly mixed, so it's unlikely we both have the same whiskey on the one on the right.
Could.
But I mean, it's a 20% chance, I guess, they're the same.
Yeah.
Hang in.
Hagen AZ, what's happening, man? Hello, the boys from Buffalo, Minnesota. Are you reading Sugar Kitty's comment?
Yeah, Sugar
Is that a
Kitty.
cat riding a bike?
It is.
Nice. So this is interesting. The one, my first pour is distinctly different, which leads me to believe it's the triple mash, just because it is such an outlier. But
I think it's the international one.
Well, there's 2 of them, so. I do find doing these live, it is kind of hard to concentrate because by the time I'm sitting here talking and reading comments.
That one's really good. That one smells like white chocolate.
White chocolate, really? I'm definitely getting some nuance between these. Like the second one is pretty weak on the nose.
That one's also noticeable. These 2 are like
vanilla.
nothing burgers. And this one is apple juice.
I think this is going to be a really interesting flight.
Okay.
See that these have so much in common. All right, should we get into the tasting here?
Let us be going.
That's what she said.
I don't know. All right, whiskey number 1.
Oh.
Are you already putting them like favorite to least favorite on the nose and then
I'm
seeing if it changes?
separating them, but I don't really have a method to it.
Okay.
Yeah, there's some distinctness, but anyway.
This one is super weak. The second one here. I love bike riding, yet I still come here. Well, so we have non-bike riding Dave Vogelsang, and we have bike riding Brian Vaughn. So bikes are welcome here. You know, your bike preference, we're good with it. Okay, let's get into the tasting here. Cheers, everybody. Thanks for showing up.
I suspect this flight's going to be harder than I signed up for today.
Yeah. I think it's definitely going to be difficult to even try to pick what's what, but you just rank them.
Holy cow, what is in that?
I'm going to do just a little bit of...
That's like grain sugar.
Really? I don't know what's in my number 2 glass, but on the nose, that one was definitely definitely weaker.
What? That's not what I thought it was, so... All right. Hanging. Was that earlier in your lifetime, or... Because I think we've all ridden a bike at one point in our life.
If that was tonight, that's pretty impressive.
Yeah, if it's tonight, because it's probably 114 million degrees there.
Wow. That second one is not weak on the palate, as the nose would suggest. Have you guys, let us know in the comment, have you had any or all of these? I'm assuming people have had some of them, but has anybody had the, like the single barrel international travel? Because this one I don't know that you can get on military bases.
Well, I think that's one they said you could, but it doesn't
No,
matter.
this one you can. I know
Oh,
you
okay.
can get this one.
Ah.
But let us know if you've had this one. 92 and sunny. Right there with dogs playing poker. I must have missed something.
It's a pretty good name for your biography.
Yeah, this is going to be a very difficult flight to pick.
Surprisingly, they're all very similar. Well, except for one. All right, final one.
You've gone through all of them already?
Well, except for...
My middle 3 are all very similar so far. Kermit Rodea bike.
He did ride a bike.
Is that a brand of a bike? Or am I
No,
missing
Kermit.
something?
There's one of the movies, the Muppet movies, Kermit rides a bike.
Oh, okay.
I think that's the reference, but...
You guys should check into Scotch Down Under early in the morning. Hang-In, Regular Rider, and Pug Marcher. Okay.
Pug Marcher.
I'm not exactly sure what to make of that, but...
Is that a down under euphemism?
Well, I can definitively say I think this is the triple mash and this is the rye. I think my number 1 is the triple mash, number 5 is the rye.
Hey.
Kermit the Flog. What up, Shred? Shredword is in the
Shred.
house. Okay. I'm going to have to go through these backwards now. Please hold.
You know, Ben, it was funny the first time.
I'm just trying to follow in your footsteps. Do any of you have a preference on these as far as a favorite or least favorite? For those of you that just joined, this one that's the single barrel is a bottled and bond single barrel international travel only. I will say there's not one of these that I don't like.
Yeah, and they're all good. I mean, this is, yeah, it's really difficult.
But they are tasting slightly different to me tonight than usual. I do think that the 3 regular bonded Tennessee whiskey mash bills need to have a flight of their own at some point.
Okay.
Because I feel like the triple mash and the rye are really going to throw this off.
I've got 2 that I'm wrestling with, and I don't know if it's because of...
Yeah, I'm having a hard time telling the difference between the 3 of these. I bought both the U.S. Bottle and Bond and the Travel Bottle and Bond. I thought the best one is the one I never tried. I only have the core 3. Rye would be my personal fave. Okay. Have a shot of Old Number 7 right after everything else to ensure you puke. Is that because Old Number 7 tastes bad, or just taking a shot of whiskey at this point in my life would probably make me puke? I gotta tell you, I am gonna set these 2 aside, and I'm just gonna tackle the middle 3 because I'm convinced that those are the...
I know that is something weird.
Okay. Let's put these out here. And I'm gonna have to go back and forth in these, so...
That's what she said.
Get it? Okay, so do you have 3 that are sticking out? Or actually, I should say 2 that are sticking as the outliers?
I'm actually having a hard time tasting a difference, but I feel like it's me. Like, I've not had very much whiskey today, but I'm really struggling to find a difference. There's one that's pretty obviously different.
Okay, which one is that? That's your number 1?
Yeah, it's this glass. But
That happens to be the one that I'm finding to be very different as well.
But this one, for the longest time I pulled out, is different. But now, like, it's almost like I don't trust my taste buds anymore.
Well, the internet doesn't either after you confessed on air that you brush your teeth before whiskey reviews.
Well, on air being like a half hour before, and then I have a pour of bourbon. Like, very rarely do we do our tasting at 7 in the morning.
That's true.
So
we should start doing that, actually. Bourbon and breakfast live stream. Where you sample breakfast foods and drink bourbon. Who would tune in for that? By the way...
Could you imagine French toast and bourbon?
I bet it'd be pretty good. Actually, I think that'd be too sweet. Because something that's too sweet, I don't like with whiskey. I like something like a piece of steak or something.
So I don't tend to like any food with whiskey.
I don't prefer it, I will say that. I will say this, actually, if you've got a whiskey that's particularly weak in flavor, if you pair it with something sweet or something, just any kind of food in general, it really makes the whiskey taste a little more bold.
Really?
And sometimes that can go in the wrong direction, but if you got like a crappy whiskey you're trying to get rid of, try pairing it with food once. Bourbon School, Brian is in the house. What's happening,
howdy.
Brian? All right, let's... These are definitely the 3 normies. And I just cannot tell a difference at all. Stream Tuesday or Thursdays, and you'd fit right in between the Scotch Down Under streams on Wednesday. Perfect. That's what we should do, start a morning show.
The morning show.
Quit our jobs, get into our true calling of drinking whiskey in the morning on the internet. That's what we need to do.
That is such a good idea. Somebody should do that.
By the way, speaking of Bourbon School, Brian, next Whiskey 6 episode, excuse me, is May 15th. Brian, do I have that right? I think it's May 15th. And let me know if I can announce the special guest.
You guys have a special guest?
We have a guest for every show, Greg. So far, this one is the best of these three.
That doesn't seem to be very special then, there, does it?
Well, it's a different guest every show.
Okay.
Yeah.
But this one's special, implying the previous guests were unspecial.
No, the other ones were special guests as well. They're all special. Everyone. Okay, so Brian, can I announce, have we announced the guest? Because, for those of you that don't know, we do the Whiskey 6 once a month. It's me, and if you want to hop on anytime.
I'm usually busy.
Yeah. It's a little later in the evening, but so it's usually me, and then it's Bourbon School, Bad Axe Bourbon, Bourbon Drop, Whiskey Wars / Mash and Metal. Did I miss anybody?
And then, yeah.
Okay, yeah, no, I got them all. And then
And a sixth player to be named later.
Yep, who is a guest once, every show. So this month's guest on May 15th, Brian says is confirmed, so go for it, is going to be David and Jamie of Whiskey Row. So that's pretty awesome. I've been watching their channel for quite some time.
Yeah.
And so that should be a lot of fun. Looking forward to meeting them. I've never spoken with them before or met them via the World Wide Web. So that's exciting. So
Interconnected web of computers.
yeah, so mark your calendars for that.
So I have two that I would call distinct from the rest. No idea how to separate the three of them. It would be total random. And I don't even trust my taste buds between this one and those. So I don't know. This is harder. Well, maybe it's me.
Harder than you thought it was going to be?
That's what she said.
It's a challenging flight. And
As soon as you said it's harder, I just go ahead, Greg,
yeah.
finish your sentence.
Yeah,
I've got the button right here. Sugar Kitty, thanks for dropping the link. So yeah, check that out. Go subscribe to that channel so you can be in on all the fun. Let's see. Greg's humor is too sophisticated for the Whiskey 6. You might be onto something with that.
No, my humor, well, it's not my humor. It's the fact that I wake up at way early and I'm asleep by 8 p.m.
Least favorite, favorite, least favorite. Okay, I'm almost there. Do you have your order?
Oh, well, I'm totally guessing between the three because they're all the same to me.
These two are almost indistinguishable. I need to get a little water here. This is riveting when we're trying to concentrate on.
Yeah, see, that one's better.
Okay, we'll have the reveal soon.
I don't know which one I like the best. I'm just finding differences.
Okay.
All right.
I don't know what to do with the one that I believe is the rye, because I wouldn't say it's better or worse than any of the other ones, but it's just kind of like...
I'm not picking a favorite or a worst, because they're all good. They're all Jack. I'm mostly trying to find the triple mash and the rye, and I'm not very confident, I will tell you.
There's one of these that I believe is the one of the regular ones that is just coming across very flat.
Mm-hmm. I would agree. I have one that is in last place.
Yeah. I don't know what the problem is there, but... All right, so let's do this. First, second, third, fourth, fifth. Okay, so now for the reveal, I have the analog scoreboard, all up in the belly full of Jack, who has bail money. 100 proof Jack, no less.
500 proof. If you stick around to the end.
Okay, let's get some of this going. I should have a drum roll here somewhere. Don't I have a drum roll? I've got a timpani.
Oh, it's a timpani. That's a drum roll, isn't it?
Yeah, I think that'll work. Okay, Greg. So what was your number one, your favorite one?
That's understand the rules. I wasn't picking a favorite. I was just trying to figure out what they were.
Oh, well, I was picking a favorite. You didn't catch on to that?
Well, I have a worst.
Okay.
Let's start there.
Okay. What was your worst one?
This one is my least impressive one.
Okay. That is number 2. That is the Single Barrel Traveler.
Wow. I had no idea which one it was, but I felt that was one of the regular bourbons.
Okay. So let's go for my worst. Is number 1, the Bottled and Bond. That's interesting because I actually really like that one. Like I use this bottle for like a just kind of a utility bourbon, random pour. Like I like to sip it neat. Don't care if you kill it because I've got a couple backups.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Ryan Frank is in the house. Whose house? Get out of their house. I mean, honestly, they didn't invite you. They don't want you. Well, maybe they do. Maybe it's your house.
Okay. What's up, Ryan Frank? Good to have you here. Great flight. Baker Drinks is in the house. What's happening? So I'm assuming this is Laura because it doesn't say Troy from Baker Drinks.
So Ben wins the award for the least creative flight ever. They taste the same too, by the way.
Yeah. Well, they obviously don't actually because I had a distinct order.
Okay.
And so we'll go through the results when they're all done. We'll go one by one here. So do you have a second to the least favorite?
Yeah. So the second to least favorite
is number 4. That would be the Rye.
That does not surprise me at all.
Okay.
I happen to like it, but I noticed it was distinct and different.
I don't dislike any of these,
Yeah,
but one of
they're
them
all
just
good.
came across as, to be honest, the one that's in last place just came across flat compared to the other ones. I don't know why it would, but it just did. The rest of them I like all about the same.
Yeah.
Because these 3 in the middle, because I'm guessing, so my next one that was second to last place was with, I'm guessing this is the Rye. Number 4, that is the Rye. Okay.
Okay. So I wasn't really picky. Like the way things are set right now, the triple mash would win for me because that's the one
I think the triple mash won for me too.
But I don't know if it's really my favorite. It was the one I noticed is different.
And
I
came
think this
across
is
as a little more bold.
Yeah, I'm not gonna go with this one as my favorite. It'll be second place. And then maybe I'm totally wrong about it. I'm not very confident. So.
All right, what's your third place?
All right, third place we'll do this one.
That is number 3. That's the regular bonded.
Okay. Yep, that's a really good solid pour. Available in most liquor stores. Grab a bottle when you see it. These are liters, by the way, right?
No, these are 700 mils.
Oh.
This is a 750. This one is a liter right here. Wow. Okay, so in third place, I'm guessing this is going to be either the single barrel or the regular bonded, I'm guessing. Number 3, it is the regular bonded. So we've got the same third and fourth place.
Okay.
All right. Okay. Bonded, regular.
All right. Final decision time.
Choose wisely. So mine is coming down to the single barrel and the triple mash. Yours is coming down to my last place and the triple mash. Interestingly enough.
Still get some.
Let's see. After drinking all of these, I would be confused as well.
No kidding. They're very similar. They're subtle. All right. Second place, I'll go with this one.
Okay. Second place is the Bottled and Bond Traveler.
Yeah, I decided to go ahead and go with this one. I knew it was a triple mash, but just today, I don't remember loving it as much when we did our review, but that was like a year ago.
I don't either, but that's a damn good
But
whiskey.
it's really, really good. I've seen it on the shelf recently and passed it by and I bought these two recently. And I let that one sit. But yeah, today I'm really impressed with it.
And I'm guessing my second place is oh, wait a minute. My second place is number 5. Yeah. Holy crap. I could have swore this was the triple mash because it had the most flavor to it.
And so I don't know which one.
So my first place is the single barrel.
Wow.
Bottled and Bond.
Really?
I would have bet.
And that was my last place?
Yeah.
I was so unimpressed and not getting anything off of that.
And then so my first place That is so weird. I would have bet anything that this was the triple mash. And it wasn't based on an odd flavor. It was based on the fact that it felt like it had the most flavor. So I would have assumed the most complexity would have come from that.
Totally agree. So I think we had the same middle three for the most part, but we kind of disagreed on our first and last place. Sort of. It's not perfect. Anyway, so this is the part of the show that everybody's been waiting for.
Are you sure you poured these right?
Yep.
Because I am tasting those against each other, and the one that is the single barrel tastes distinctly different.
Yep. Unless you put, well, I did not put the stickers on the bottom of your glasses.
Right.
If you put the stickers on wrong.
Yeah, I did check. They were in the right order.
Okay.
Oh, that's so weird. You got to give me another second with this.
All right, that's fine. Well, I'm going to go blendish.
I'm having a hard time accepting this.
For those of you who are new to the program, once we go into the blending mode, this is not recommended for newer whiskey drinkers because we've now upped the proof. These are all 100 proof whiskeys, so we're now at 500 proof. And we don't have age statements for the most part, but we know a minimum of 4.
Yep.
And so we're talking like at least 16. Probably, if we're honest, it's probably like a 24-year bourbon.
I would guess, yeah.
You know,
boy,
and-
that's still a solid pour after
500 proof,
having drank
24
all
years.
of those. You can see that.
And still only $30 though. So pick one up when you see one.
Yeah, it's a great. Okay, so let's go through the results again real quick. My first place was the single barrel bottled and bond, the international travel only. Second place was the triple mash. I'm not surprised those are my two favorites, but boy, I am shocked that I got those mixed up. I just absolutely would have been 100% convinced that that was the triple mash.
Okay.
The bonded regular came in third for me. The rye came in fourth, and then the bottled and bond traveler or duty free, military base came in last. For Greg, the winner was the triple mash. The bottled and bond traveler was second.
That one was really, like, it punched above its weight. Like, it was really noticeably aggressive for
I
me.
got the weakest flavor off of that one.
But I would say today I don't trust my taste buds. I don't know why.
Well, apparently I can't trust mine either because I was completely...
This whole flight was bananas. Oh, that's a play on words. Well done, hanging.
E-A-N-A-N-A-S. I like it.
You know, that's the kind of joke a bike rider would make.
Yes. And that life from the patio, what's happening? And then the bonded regular was your third place. The rye was fourth. And then the single barrel. So my first and your last, and then your second and my last were reversed. So it'll be interesting.
We disagree, yeah.
It'll be interesting to do a flight of these three because, to be perfectly honest, when you're doing a blind flight, and especially when you're trying to do it live and still pay attention and entertain the internet, it's a little more difficult. But I would not be shocked because I've never had this one come across as weak, so I don't know if that's just, I went through all the other ones except for the rye before getting to that one, so I don't know if that affected it. But it just, for some odd reason, it came across as weak today.
So if anybody's has all these bottles and it wants to do the blend, believe it or not, it actually does taste like banana pudding.
All right, let's see here. Now we have a good solid pour of whiskey for the rest of this live
3-ounce evening.
Yeah. So I want to pose a question to you guys in the chat.
Oh, it's now time for the interactive portion of the show.
Well, this is actually whiskey related.
Well, that's fine. You can be interactive with whiskey.
So I'm starting to see bottles like Booker's sitting on the shelf. You couldn't find them for a couple years. They went up to $100, and then people were buying them at $100. And now, like, I went into a store a couple weeks ago, and they had all 4 batches from last year, and they had multiples of them.
I think the bourbon boom and the bourbon obsession, like new people getting in all the time,
is
dying down somewhat.
Well, I definitely think that.
And all of the whiskey companies have priced themselves out a little bit.
Of people, that's the problem with Booker's. Like, I've bought a couple bottles. I just bought a new one, but I've got them at Sam's Club for $80 or $82. I'll bite at that point. We've always been pretty lucky with the Jack Daniel's single barrel proof, but I have seen a lot more of those, like people being able to get pics of it.
Yep.
They don't sit on the shelf, but they're attainable.
Okay.
But I am just noticing I'm starting to see a lot more stuff sitting out there. So, if bourbon was a stock that you owned, are you selling to avoid the plummet? You know,
I don't know if I'd call it a plummet. I think it's going to go back from the crazy high.
to normal.
Yeah, to normal.
But I mean, like, say you bought stock in bourbon early when it started going up. Are you prepared to sell and take your profits because you think that the boom is over and it's going to even out?
Well, see, I don't look at it that way because I'm looking forward to this next phase where Buffalo Trace, as an example, Buffalo Trace sits on the shelf at every liquor store.
No, I am too, but that's
Because
what I'm
it
saying.
should. It's
Do
a
you think
$25
like that's
bourbon.
normal?
Yeah.
You know,
So-
a year ago was the peak and you couldn't get it anywhere. Now it's normal. So I'm saying we're up here right now, but I think we're approaching this.
I'm hoping, and it for
Yeah.
a while with various brands, and I think it's going to be different because of distribution. We are seeing better availability of some stuff here in Minnesota and countrywide. It's going to be different, you know, but hopefully there's not quite as many. There's various insults that people throw at new people who are just walk in. Do you have any Blanton's? The kind of
Yeah.
person. Hopefully there's less of those people. So liquor stores are not so inclined to just double the price,
Yeah.
you know, and they will be a little bit more reasonable with the pricing of their everyday stuff.
Yeah.
And then,
That's what I'm hoping happens. I mean, I'm using the stock thing as a
Sure.
as a metaphor. Like,
Yeah.
is the boom over and now it's going to even
I
out?
hope.
So the spike, sell high. You know, you
Yep.
bought the dip, sell high,
yeah,
and let it even out again now.
but another thing has happened. If we were to go back 5 years, if you looked at Scotch like 5 years ago, there were obscenely expensive Scotches and cognacs and other stuff.
And there still are, but do you think
There
that's
are,
evening out?
of course. No, but there were that did not exist in the bourbon world, other than maybe the Pappy and a few really, really small batch
Woodford
ones.
Baccarat, like
Yeah.
that's a, $1,500.
Now there's
$2,000
a
bucks.
ton of distilleries producing unicorns that are $300. You know, and some
I
of
think
them
that's
are
gonna
worth it,
bust.
and I think that's really gonna bust. No offense, I'm gonna pick one that Heaven's Door. That's an MGP sourced, right?
They source from all over. It depends on
Okay.
the bottling.
You know, that kind of stuff.
But they don't have unicorns. They have got some stuff that's like $300, but the weird
$300.
bootleg ones. or-
$300. That's way overpriced for a semi-sourced, non-producer distiller.
Mm-hmm.
I think we're going to see a correction, and if you like that brand,
Yeah.
they make some really good stuff.
Yeah, I mean, like, so Heaven's Door, yeah, they do make some that are kind of wacky at it, but for the most part, they're not terribly expensive. But like a Remus Gatsby.
Yeah.
You know?
That's been priced too high.
It's
it
a
needs
great
to
bourbon,
come
but
back
yeah,
down a bit.
$250 or $220
It's got a nice
MSRP.
box or whatever, and so on. But
Yeah, let's see if anybody is commenting on this. I still find a lot of new people entering the bourbon world. Well, let them know about our channel because I got to tell you, the subscriber level has gotten stagnant in the last month. It's definitely slowed down a little bit.
well, in
They'll
addition
keep
to
raising
people,
prices until bottles start sitting. Yeah, John, and that's what I'm starting to see. John, you're in Minnesota, right?
He's a Wisconsinite.
Wisconsin, okay.
He is
That's right, he said
very,
Wisconsin last time.
very cheese-headed.
But I think he's from. John, are you from Minnesota? Or anyway, you're in the same region. But yeah, like I'm starting to notice that, and I think that I don't know.
I think it's slowing down a bit. I think a lot. There was a group of people that came in because of the plague and needed
Mm-hmm.
something to do.
Yep.
Then there's some other people who were just interested in it. And I don't know. Like, I feel like it's some of the craziness. Yeah, he's near Green Bay.
Green Bay, okay.
Some of the craziness is going away, and it's going to level out and just be it's an industry that's huge and worth billions of dollars, and that's not going to change that much.
Right, and I think that, you and I have talked about this. I think we maybe have a differing opinion on this, but like Buffalo Trace, doubling their production or whatever.
But it takes years. I mean, they're trying.
It does, but by the time you're saying that you didn't think they had really a vested interest in doing that because now Eagle Rare will sit on the shelf.
I don't think they want to see Eagle Rare being discounted because they can't sell it.
But I don't think it ever will be, though. Like, Eagle Rare could be like Knob Creek. Knob Creek is available everywhere. People buy it. It's never discounted. It's one of those bourbons that just is what it is. I think having Eagle Rare along with Knob Creek, Woodford Reserve, Elijah Craig as a standard offering it would sell a lot because it is a damn good whiskey, and if they keep it at a reasonable price,
depends, and
I think it'll outsell all that other stuff, even if they...
for a while.
Yeah.
But eventually people are going to look at it and think, there's so many other options that maybe are cheaper.
Yeah,
And-
that's
and
true.
so
Well, if they keep it at a normal price.
Yeah, at a normal price.
My point is you don't see Knob Creek just, them having problems with,
fair enough.
Buffalo Trace at this point doesn't have regular offerings that are available.
We don't, but here's what we don't know, and this is
In a lot of
trade
places.
secret. How much did they increase their capacity? Did
They said that they were doubling it. Now, I don't know what that means.
Did they double it? And how many years ago did that start? And when are we going to? Is it going to slowly ramp up, or is it just all of a sudden going to be massive cases of Buffalo Trace? And
I don't know,
Eagle
and
Rare
that's what
everywhere?
I'm interesting to see. Buffalo Trace installed a new column still to double production. Then what? They built new warehouses too.
Yeah, I mean the problem is 10 years ago, in the case of Eagle Rare, they would have had to known they needed more production.
Yeah,
And
but I think they knew 5 years ago.
8 to 9 years ago,
Maybe.
I think. So
But I agree with
But I
Peter
also-
White. Yeah, make it available everywhere.
But I think they were cautious. They know that they were in everybody, like it happens in the stock market, it happens everywhere. There's a cycle. And so, yes, they need to meet demand, but they don't want to meet demand so much that it just sits on the shelf and becomes a bottom shelfer. They want it to be a luxury brand and a luxury bourbon.
Yeah, but they also want. I think the Pappies will always be luxury, and BTAC
definitely.
will always be luxury.
Yeah, those are
But
really
Buffalo
limited.
Trace needs to have their basic stuff. E.H. Taylor, Buffalo Trace,
I agree.
Eagle Rare, regulars on the shelf, just as common as any other common bourbon that people buy all the time.
Yeah, I would.
Because then they'll have
I agree.
something along with that. Like that's what I think. I mean, I would love it if we could just get, Eagle Rare, E.H. Taylor. I really like those. Now we're picking on Buffalo Trace because they're
As an
kind of
example.
they're the ones.
But I think we could say the same thing about, well, who else?
I think Buffalo Trace the most because for right, wrong, or indifferent, love them or hate them.
They are the ones that were crowned with the unicorn status.
Yeah.
Everything they make, including some of their stuff that's not great,
Yeah,
they're
just
really
turns to
bottom
gold.
shelf, is a unicorn.
Yeah.
And I don't even think they're to blame for most of that. That's just, enthusiasm gone awry.
It was Blanton's that did it.
Of course.
And then people found out Pappy Van Winkle comes from there.
Yep.
And it didn't always, but
Yeah.
and then so everything just got. I went to a liquor store one time, and they had a bottle of Buffalo Trace on the shelf, and this was a couple years ago, so kind of at the height of the, everybody's looking for Blanton's and stuff. And the lady said to me, she's like, that's the same place that they make Blanton's. I'm like, yeah, I know. I was like, oh yeah, cool. And she goes, so actually, there's a chance that there could be some Blanton's in with the Buffalo Trace.
Do you
Like
even know what
in
you're
the
talking
blending
about?
process, and I was just like, I didn't want to be a know-it-all.
That guy?
Yeah, that guy. And I was like, no, that's not how that works. Like, Blanton's is a single barrel. It has its own bottling line. You could feasibly.
So, all right. So, Hanging went there. Yes, there have been several celebrity endorsements / movies that have tied into various whiskeys, and that's also helped or hurt, depending on your perspective.
And Laura said people are still drinking bourbon, just less people have the money for those
Yeah, no
crazy
kidding.
price bottles. I agree, and to be honest, those crazy price bottles, it's getting to the point where it's like, what are you offering? What I like about the correction that's happening is there are brands that are coming out and offering really great stuff, like Doc Swinson's. Their exploratory cast stuff at $70 a bottle. It's a little on the pricey side for an average bottle of bourbon, but it's not unicorn status. They're accessible, and they're doing some really, really cool stuff.
But honestly, for the last 3 years or whatever, we've been talking about bottles that punch above their weight. Things like this, right? These are not crazy expensive. There's, several Wild Turkeys, including, whatchamacallit, my favorite,
Rare breed.
Rare Breed.
Or the Russell's 10 single barrels. Not Russell's 10 single, the Russell's single barrels.
Yeah. There's lots of $50 bourbons that are great. Some
Yeah.
Old Forester stuff. And
Now-
so it's hard to pay $80 for something and take a risk on a small distillery when you know there's stuff that's great.
Yeah. I will say this, these are really good. You're not going to get much of an experience. You're just getting a good tasting bourbon that you can sit and enjoy.
Yeah, this is an everyday
What I
type
think
drink.
is cool about brands like Doc Swinson's when they're not wildly overpriced is that they're doing cool cask finishing. They're doing
Yep.
stuff that's unique. So I think that'll probably end up being, finished bourbons Like Amburana's all the rage. I think maple is going to get even bigger than it is.
So the finished rye over the past year, we've been really impressed with, and I think that's going to continue for another several years. And then we'll get sick and tired of it.
The rum finished rye, is that what you said?
Well,
or just
anything
finished. Yeah.
The various types of.
Yeah, I think finished stuff is really where it's kind of at right now.
Yeah, I've never paid secondary for a bottle of anything. Yeah, if it's not available at a liquor store, I'm not buying it. I don't think there's a bourbon out there that's worth a couple $100. And I've paid over $200 for a bottle at a liquor store twice.
Which ones were those?
Guero was like $220. It's a 17-year MGP source.
I didn't think that was that much.
Or no, it was like.
I thought that
sourced.
one was like 170.
No, it was $220.
Was it really?
Yeah, and it's really, really good, but it's not $220 good. And there was another one. Joseph Magnus Cigar Blend, which was really good. It's just
I think that one was one. That's the one I think that was 180.
That was $230. Yeah, it was $230, or maybe with tax. I don't know what the regular.
It might have
price
been
was.
with tax, and we bought a bunch of bottles that day, so maybe the tax. But I think it was I know it's on the bourbon hunting video.
Yeah, but the problem is we had another cigar blend video or bourbon with that one, and it was just as good and a third the price.
Yeah.
And so it's not like Joseph Magnus was bad; it was a great one. It's just it happened to be that Storytime pick was right
phenomenal.
there with it, at a third the price.
Well, and like, old Dragon Bones, this one, like this is a true unicorn that
Truly.
luckily I won.
Yep.
But like Shane's picking those bottles, and you have access to what was that, $120 or whatever. That is $120 bourbon all day long.
Fair enough. Yep.
Maybe it wasn't even that. Maybe it was just 100.
Yeah.
But it was something like that. But I mean, that one is incredible. That's one of the best whiskeys I've ever had in my life. But like, and I know we've had the discussion a billion times about like prices, and you know, we always say, well, you know, for the money you can do better. And sometimes it's not always about that. It's about exploring new flavor profiles. Because whatever that one is, somebody that might be exactly what they're looking for, and they're totally willing to pay that. But I'm just wondering if the idea of not being able to get your hands on some of these, like that shelf up there, which is all Buffalo Trace stuff.
Yep, Weller and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, like at some point, are you going to be able to walk in and just get an Antique 107? Which I hope to God someday you can do that, because it's a great bourbon.
In Canada, not that I've been there in a few years, you literally can walk into a liquor store and see the green Weller and the red Weller, the 107, every day. It sits on the shelf at totally affordable prices.
Last time I was in Canada, they had E.H. Taylor on the shelf and the Weller Special Reserve.
Wow.
But yeah, it's funny because the reason I brought that up, and I brought up the thing about like the metaphor about stock, like if bourbon was a stock, would you sell right now because it's about to plummet? Is I met a guy one time in a liquor store. I was filming a bourbon hunting video. Really nice guy and his wife were in there. I can't remember his name. This was like a year and a half ago or a year ago. But anyway, he was in there looking for bottles. And he was telling me about all these, he's a collector and all these bottles that he's gotten. And I think he paid a pretty penny for them. He won some right to buy some $4,000 Buffalo Trace product. And it wasn't anything that you normally would hear of it. Like it was a specific auction bottle.
Well, there's some those weird Weller really special.
Yeah,
like
and
single
it wasn't
barrel
even
things.
that. It was like it wasn't even one of their normal brands. It was just like Buffalo Trace Presents or some shit like that. I don't know.
Just to answer before it goes away. So a couple years ago, I went to Calgary, and there's a big liquor store, kind of like if you ever heard of MGP in Midwest or ABC in
MGM.
Virginia. Or MGM.
You said MGP.
Yeah,
MGM.
MGM. I forget the name of it, but it was a chain liquor store, and they had just a shelf full of the red Weller, the green Weller, and a bunch of other stuff too. It was obviously totally available.
That was a while ago, though. That was
was.
before you and I started hanging out. So that was like...
No, I think we were doing the channel.
No. This is before that, for sure.
It was, before the plague. It's been a while since I've been to Canada.
Yeah, we didn't start the channel until 2021. So this is probably 2019 or
It could have been.
previous. But anyway, so this guy was telling me, he's like, about all these bottles that he's got, that he's been able to find or bought on secondary. And he had like, you know, all the BTAC stuff, some Pappies, this crazy one he was telling me about, this lottery that he got into. He doesn't drink.
Is he just like a flipper?
No, he's keeping them, and I don't know if the intention is.
He thinks they're going to continue.
This is a retirement plan.
And your stock metaphor could be apropos because his investment.
That's what made me think about it. Like,
Yeah.
if this was an investment for you, are you ready to dump the stock and take your winnings and not try to push it any higher?
Here's what you need to do. 6 months ago, you should have sold.
I probably would agree.
I think.
Chances of getting Weller 107 in Alberta is slim and none. That's a bummer. Well, it's same here though.
Yeah.
But like you go out to Washington, like you can. I mean, Buffalo Trace and Eagle Rare at least sit on the shelf. And that's all I want to see. I want to be able to go in and buy a $35 bottle of Eagle Rare and sip on that for the weekend because I think it's great. I was just in Long Beach and they had Blanton's on the shelf for $75. That could have been a fluke.
Sure.
I could have just gotten lucky that day. I didn't buy it, but they had Eagle Rare on the shelf. Nice. I think Bobby was saying in California he sees E.H. Taylor on the shelf a lot.
Yeah.
So I might have to have him send me one of those.
Okay, I have a question for you.
Okay.
You visit more liquor stores than I.
Okay, yes.
I've only one actual time in my life, and it was Ace Liquor. I know you know where that's at. Walked into the store.
Ace Spirits down in Hopkins?
I'm sorry. Ace Spirits in Hopkins. And I happened to be walking in right behind a couple who clearly did not know what they were looking for and walked up and said, "Do you have any Blantons?" Like they wanted to buy a gift for someone, and that's what they knew they should go ask for.
Yep.
I've only actually had that happen to me once in my life. Like that's a meme.
That you see somebody asking for Blantons?
Yeah. I occasionally, like someone will ask me what I'm looking for, and I jokingly say, "Do you have any Blantons?" But I say it in such a way that they know I'm joking. Because I'm not, I honestly wouldn't buy a blend unless it was like super cheap. And even then, like I'm not that impressed with it.
I buy it because I know of a couple people who genuinely like it, and I buy it for them and sell it to them for what I pay for it. But I don't pay any more than $75 for it.
So that, I mean.
No, I've never seen anybody walk in and say, "Do you have any Blantons?"
Curious, because that's kind of a meme.
Like liquor stores, like Alyssa's got a sign that says it's been 0 days since somebody.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's pretty common too, like that sign.
Yep.
I have seen somebody in the duty free in Mexico. Like I was looking at the bourbon, he walked in and he was with his girlfriend. He's just like, "Oh, I just want to come in and see if they had any Blantons or anything," and walked away. And meanwhile, they had the Wild Turkey Rare Breed uncut, unfiltered on a big shelf, and maybe the guy's not super into bourbon, so maybe that's not his jam.
And
there's nothing wrong with that.
No, I mean people are buying a gift and they have absolutely no idea.
Or maybe you're just into bourbon enough to know that Blanton's is the good stuff.
I think,
and you're not a freaking weirdo that has 150 bottles sitting on the shelf behind him on the internet.
Yes,
we're definitely the weirder people than the people who walk in and say, "Do you have any Blantons?"
Well, no, I mean, I think they're honest. I mean, they don't know anything, and they're not like hiding.
I didn't know that when I first got into it. I think I've told you, like, I heard someplace that, like, the poor man's pappy was Weller 12 and, is it like Special Reserve or something? Weller 12 and something else. So I just walked into Total Wine and I was like, "Do you guys have any Weller 12? I didn't know.
Sure.
I was new to it. So I always cut those people some slack. Let's see. Here, every 5 years, you see Eagle Rare for $99 and E.H. Taylor for $199. Good Lord.
Wow, that's still crazy prices.
Florida has a ton of everyday E.H. Taylor small batch out west by ER at Walmart's every day. Yeah, for sure. Mm-hmm. I've never in Florida seen any E.H. Taylor small batch. But what's fun is every time I go to a place like Florida or something, at least it's becoming less common, which is a good thing. But they used to, you go and you see the stuff that you can't get in Minnesota. Mm-hmm. Like I think last time I was there that I bought bourbon and brought it home, I got like some Bardstown Bourbon Company, like Discovery Series. You don't see those in Minnesota.
Sure.
What was I just going to say? But just before you asked me that question, I had something I think I was going to respond to a question or whatever. But damn it, now I can't remember. It must be the Jack Daniels.
That's right.
So, anyway, in conclusion, I hope that happens. Like, I hope it gets to the point where, because the thing at the end of the day,
it's night.
Thank you for that. At the end of the night, I like the idea of people being able to buy and enjoy the bourbon that they like.
Well, I would maybe say it different. Like, I don't buy it because they can't find it. I buy it because I like it.
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing.
And so, it's kind of cool to finally grab one when it's, like, hard to find. But impossible to find, that kind of annoys me It more than annoys me.
Well, I don't even get excited anymore. Like I follow
Yeah, like, I'm
Coming Bourbon on
Yeah.
Instagram, and it's a great Instagram page. And so they'll usually put out like there's a new Jim Beam Black coming out. That's like a different proof or something. That we'll probably see at some point.
Okay, sure.
But it's like whenever there's like some new exciting thing, it's like, why bother getting excited? It's going to be impossible to find.
Well, yeah, like if they were to add a new antique collection thing to the Buffalo Trace lineup,
Yeah.
you're never going to see it.
Who cares?
Yeah, I genuinely don't even watch that famous bourbon reviewer on the internet anymore because the stuff he gets mailed straight from the big distilleries.
Yeah.
we are never going to see, and so it's not even worth it.
I don't mind watching
Well,
those
no,
reviews.
he's perfectly fine.
Well,
Nice
like
guy,
anytime
but-
anybody does, like Chad
Yeah.
and Sarah did Bourbon Night, get
Yeah.
media samples.
Yep.
And so I like to see what people are saying about it,
Mm-hmm.
just because, out of curiosity. But, yeah, it's like, so I just saw one. There's a new Old Granddad coming out.
Really?
100 proof, 16-year age statement.
Wow.
Now, how bad do you want to try that bourbon? But at the same time, I was like, oh, a new Old Granddad, finally. Then it's like, it's 16-year age stated. Good luck ever finding that, because I'm sure it's in
That's gonna be
limited
very
quantities.
limited
High rye.
distribution.
Sugar Kitty says rim shot. I don't know who made a joke that we'll just throw that out there. I'm sure.
I think it was at the end of the day joke.
Oh yes, it probably was actually. Okay, that deserves another one then. Air horn.
Oh, do you remember that? Long time ago. This is a number of years ago. There was like a World Cup, which is a soccer thing, which the rest of the world calls soccer.
Didn't they have the vuvuzelas?
They had vuvuzelas, and that was like everything for like
Yeah.
a week.
That
and
thing
then,
you like spin and it makes this horribly obnoxious
and
like
then
locust.
all of a sudden they became like illegal, and everybody
Yeah.
hated the sound. And
I
they're
remember
like,
that.
never again are they allowed in stadiums and all this crazy
Doesn't
stuff.
it sound like a bunch of cicadas or something?
It's
or like
just something weird, yeah. Anyway,
Speaking of which, did you get cicadas in your
what? I don't-
trees? Do the
Isn't he like
bugs
a,
that
like
make
a
that awful?
R&B singer?
The new one from Cicada. Craft Whiskey Wednesday over here. Biking Bourbon, what's happening? Sipping Jimmy's Room bourbon from Northern Waters Distillery located in Manaqua, Wisconsin. Interesting. How is that?
It's
Should be the same with Sandhill Cranes. Let's see. Hold on a second.
So, do they use red corn or do they use I don't know what other corn?
I still see people in liquor stores asking for Blanton's and Buffalo Trace. I think I see people asking for Buffalo Trace more, probably than Blanton's. I think the word is out on Blanton's.
Well, I would say occasionally I walk in and people will say something about Buffalo Trace, like, "Hey, we actually got a bottle in for $48." And no, thank you. Like,
Yeah, it's
yeah,
ridiculous.
I get the store employees prompting me saying that they have it at this point. I think in Minnesota it's actually fairly available. It's just not sitting on the shelf.
Some liquor stores like to hide hundreds of bottles in the back.
Well,
Weird. It's,
yeah.
it's interesting. Interesting.
We
concept.
know that's the concept, but I think it's happening a lot.
Dan the Whiskey Man, what's happening? David, I thought that was you in the store. Young but delicious from a local farm in north central Wisconsin. Very earthy. Okay.
Earthy. Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
We need to, speaking of Wisconsin whiskey, explore the J. Henry
J. Henry and
a
Sons.
little more. Yeah, because that one, the one or two that we
one
had.
or two that we've had are really good.
Yeah, and they have a bunch of them actually. So we also need to get into. I know Hatfield Barbecue. I haven't seen him in the chat yet, but we need to get into some of that 10,000 drops at some point. So
Well, that's a Minnesota reference.
yeah. At some point, I'm going to drive down to the
But he's
distillery.
southern Minnesota, right?
Faribault. Yeah, so southern enough.
Yeah,
Yep.
okay, yeah.
At some point, I'm just going to drive down to the distillery and go to the tasting room and try it. That way. And then if I don't like it, I'm not going to go out of my way to buy a bottle and trash it on the internet.
In California, I've been to some wineries where I've actually, visited and tasted wine. I've never been to a distillery and done like a tasting.
I haven't either.
Never.
Yeah, maybe
Now-
we need to do like a
road show.
on location video.
But the problem is we're in Minnesota, and those would be Minnesota distilleries.
Yeah.
And we've tried a few, and
And here's the thing, we haven't had great luck with Minnesota whiskeys.
yeah,
We do most of our reviews is a fresh bottle pop of something we've never had before.
Yes.
A lot of them.
And often we know nothing about it on purpose.
Yep.
Like we don't
Basic
dig it.
information.
Yeah,
Here's
yeah,
where it's
very
from,
basic,
whatever.
yeah.
But and so we're always going to give our honest opinion in that regard. But if we taste a whiskey and we know we don't like it, especially if it comes from a craft distillery that's doing their best to get their product out or whatever, I just don't bother. A, I don't want to buy the bottle because I don't like it.
Sure.
But B, I'm also not going to buy it just to review it, just to tell you not
to
to buy
bash
it.
them? Yeah.
Just to bash it. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like craft distilleries are doing what they can with the style of product that they have, and it has to be an incredibly difficult business model and product to put out.
And
extremely difficult.
We have guessed for years that many of those craft distilleries, they know, but they need to bring in revenue.
They have to, yeah.
And
a
so-
lot of them will make vodkas and gins and stuff like that doesn't have to be barrel aged.
They've got other barrels that are aging that will be good.
Yep.
They're just not there yet.
Yep,
You know,
exactly.
But they have to sell something that's below even what they want. But
Yep, exactly. All right, well, I think we're going to wrap it up here. Boy, that hour went by fast. So, in short, I mean, these were all good. You know,
except for that one.
if you're a Jack Daniels fan.
Single barrel, don't do it.
All right, folks. Well, so tomorrow, if you're a Patreon subscriber,
You already
already
know this.
know tomorrow is Lucky 7, the New Yorker. That's Lucky 7's Amberana finish one. And we
Incredibly
even,
interesting.
yeah, and we even do a little comparison with the Barrel Craft Spirits Amberana. So there's that, and then there's some on Patreon, speaking of which, there's some blending videos. I'm a little late on that. I have to get another blending video filmed, maybe for the weekend. But yeah, there's bonus content there, so please go check out the Patreon if you can. Help me start justifying this nonsense to my wife. You know, it goes a long way into helping us keep this channel going and doing 2 new whiskey reviews every week.
Exactly.
So, all right, folks. Well, thank you very, very much for joining us on the live tonight. Everybody have a great night. I'm Ben. Sorry.
I'm Greg. Until next time. See you next time.
Oh, I forgot to get the button up here. Okay. Anyway, till next time. See you next time.
Until next time. See you next time.